All right, I have 4:15, I'll call the meeting to order. They're already risen. Rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Chairs are gonna take all of you.
We put lunches again.
Yeah. Roll call. Sam Martin.
Here.
Bob Freeman.
Here.
And Rick Morgan's here. Open meeting to public input shortly. Anybody? Before we start into the business? All right. First thing we have in the red folder is the Selectmen's meeting of the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, May 15th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, boy.
And we have the minutes of the Selectmen's work session, which occurred on Monday, May 15th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have the check voucher totals. Payroll and taxes for week ending 5/20 was $40,385.33. Accounts payable for week ending 5/13 was $12,557.27. And we dispersed to the precincts $110,117.83. For a total of last week's checks of $163,060.43. I make a motion we sign them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
He's gonna,
That was one way to kill a cat, right?
gonna have a tantrum.
I'll make the motion. You two can squabble over who's gonna give the second. I don't care,
As long as you get it.
as long as there is one.
I'll just go back to sleep, don't worry about it.
All right, at last week's meeting, we opened some bids. This is a memo. The first one is a memo from Brad Harriman regarding the paving bids. He's tabulated the results because the way that they bid the documents is a little different. But the tabulated bids results in F.R. Carroll's total bid being $206,768. R&D Paving's total bid coming in at $222,595.80. And Pike Industries coming in at $224,230. Brad's recommendation is to award the bid to F.R. Carroll for the 2017 paving. Also, because the price came in lower than he had estimated, we could add a new shim on Pine River Road, $8,000, and extend our shim on Granite Road this year. Anybody any questions on this? I make a motion that we award the bid to F.R. Carroll for the 2017 paving.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor? Aye. We also had the bids which were received on the leach field replacement at Camp David. Following are the results of the bid. Evans Brother, their base bid was $39,750 plus $22 per cubic yard for additional sand replacement. Doskin Excavation, their total bid was $42,000 with the additional sand replacement included. G.W. Brooks' base bid was $71,295, and Rumney Hill Excavation was $83,150 with an additional $9 per cubic yard for additional sand replacement. Recommendation of Bo and Brad is that, being said, with Evans Brothers bid, each additional foot of sand replacement would cost an additional $8,100. The additional 2 to 3 feet of sand replacement would cost an additional $16,000 to $24,000, where the bid from Doskin Excavation includes the replacement of all the sand under the leach field. Recommendation is to award the bid to Dawson Excavation for the total sum of $42,000. Any questions? I make a motion that we okay that recommendation and award the bid for leach field replacement at Camp David to Dawson Excavation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder for anybody to look at. We have a request for abatement. This is map 130, lot 12. This is another one of those campers. The camper is registered and should not have been assessed. Results in a refund of $126.33. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a request for abatement. This is map 104, lot 14, sub 002. The original assessment was $40,600. The revised assessment is the same. Our assessor has reviewed this and recommends that we deny it, that the taxpayer has not supplied sufficient evidence to compel a value adjustment. If she provides an additional appraisal, subsequently, I would be happy to consider it and make a recommendation. As it stands for now, I make a motion we deny the abatement.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You have a copy of a check from Northeast Recovery for scrap metal. We received $213.21. We have a timber tax warrant authorizing the tax collector to collect $3,927.65. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You have a request for abatement. This is map 73, lot 109, sub 44. This is again an RV that was registered, is not subject to real estate tax, results in a refund of $121. So make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Request for abatement, map 104, lot 14, sub 00Q. Again, it's a camper which is registered for this year, results in a refund of $135.85. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a contract for use of facilities for the Ossipee Economic Development Council. They're going to be meeting with area real estate companies on Monday, June 26th at the Freight House from 5 to 7:30 p.m. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is map 223, lot 28 on Thurley Road. The owner is Neil Eldridge. Logger is Brandon Valley. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Another request for abatement. This is map 23, lot 7, G22. This is a camper that was not at the campground until after May 1st, 2017. Campground gave us the incorrect information. The results in a refund of $92. Make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is a request for abatement, map 104, lot 14, sub 45. It's a camper that was removed in the fall of 2016. Results in a refund of $57. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is a purchase order. Submitted by the Director of Public Works rather, it's an open purchase order for Central Tire Company, for state bid pricing on tires, but it's an open purchase order for $10,000 for tires to the Highway Department. Make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a purchase order submitted to us by the police chief. This is to Diamond Ledge Electronics for equipment and installation for the new cruiser, the whole list of equipment that they purchased. It's in the amount of $6,369. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a purchase order. This is one that was brought up to us by the Director of Public Works last week. This will be an open purchase order for renting a vibratory roller from Hertz Equipment Rental, and it's in the amount of $4,500. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This is another to Motorola Solutions. This is from the Police Department. It's for installation of a Motorola radio. Again, it doesn't say it, but I presume it's for the new cruiser, and that's in the amount of $3,780.50. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a copy of the consent calendar agenda from the Executive Council that's here if anybody would like to look at it. We have a letter dated May 17th, Town of Ossipee, reference Conservation Commission vacancy. I'd like to volunteer to be a member of the Conservation Commission if there continues to be a position available. And this is from James Dolan, Thurley Road, Center, Ossipee. Do we still have a full member and two
Yes.
alternates? I believe.
We don't have any alternates. There's no alternates on.
No, but isn't
still
there
need-
also,
We still- yeah,
there's
yeah.
still one vacancy and then there's two alternates as well.
Correct.
One, I'm thankful that he put his name in. I make a motion that we appoint James Dolan to the vacant position that's currently on the Conservation Commission. We just have to find out which position it is and when the term expires.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Ellen, would you reach back out to him with a note or a phone call? Thank you. We have a letter from the Governor Wentworth School District outlining when the payment is due for June and also the schedule of payments for the ensuing year for the school district. And if I read it correctly,
I think the June payment was adjusted.
okay, but this coming year, we will send $7,384,913 to the school district.
Thank you.
Point of information, can you read that again?
$7,384,913.
Thank you.
And that's a lot of money even if you say it fast. Our payment each month, average, low average is $400,000. There's one for $948,000. There's one in July that's $1.4 million. In August, it's $1,002,000. They're quite hefty. And that concludes the red folder. Old business. Briefly, we had a very good meeting upstairs in the workshop this afternoon with the operators of the fish hatchery at Sumner Brook over the maintenance that needs to be done to that buildings down there, part of which are their responsibility, and they've accepted that responsibility, and part is the town's responsibility. So we will be advertising a request for proposals to vinyl side the house at the fish hatchery, as well as to install metal roofs on both the house and the garage at the fish hatchery. I'm going to suggest that we separate the bids on the metal roofs so as we can determine whether or not we can afford to do it all in 1 year or if we need to space it out. Neither roof is currently leaking, but it probably is still the way to go. I did speak with Steve McConaty, our building inspector, briefly before the meeting, and he is more than willing to oversee those RFPs, and we can make him the contact person once that does get advertised. they are going to proceed with doing some of the other, actually, the septic is being done tomorrow already by them. And they've started on the list of things that are their responsibility. Anything on 28 and 171, Brad, new?
No.
Hazardous and dilapidated buildings, have we heard any update from our attorney?
I reached out to him on Friday to find out about the one at the end of Danville Road, and there is not a court order for removal as of yet.
Okay,
He had filed it with the court. The attorney on the opposing side came back with a request for an extension of time to let the engineer come in and do his work, which he's done.
yep,
But there was no court order for removal within X period of time, so he's going to the court to get that.
okay. All right. Anything new on the covered bridge, Brad?
Nope, nothing's changed up there since our last conversation there.
Okay,
Can I go back on the dilapidated?
yes,
Steve told me today the property at 44 Bay Point Road has been raised
good,
completely, so.
cleaned up, hauled away, excellent. Nothing new on the covered bridge. The boat launch at Pine River, I will say they have been working down there. It's, what we received for a letter last week was that it was going to be open.
I do have an update on that as well.
Okay,
Yeah, I
go
was down
ahead.
there too.
They were doing the concrete work over this past weekend. They were hoping the forms and everything were gonna be set today so that they could, pull the water barriers away within the next day or two. And they were hoping to have everything completed that would stop access to the boat ramp
Right.
by the 26th of the month. And then they're gonna have some hardscape landscaping things that they'll be completing over the next month. But the ramp is supposed to be fully operational by Thursday this week.
Very good.
I did get on there and found out the same thing.
Okay. Water and sewer, we just, bids we did, and paving bids we did. I still have on old business our 91A request to the town of Freedom.
And that is in Rick Sager's hands. He's just reviewing the request to make sure I've covered everything, and I don't have a response back from him yet.
Okay? I would like that to go out sooner rather than later, so if you could get back on the horn with him as early as tomorrow, that would be appreciated. I think, thanks to government oversight, they probably already know it's coming, but that's okay. Wasn't looking to surprise anybody. Anything else on the old business? Brad, anything?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of an update on the bridge project up there by Little Dan Hole Pond.
Yep.
We've been trying to drain Dan Hole Pond for what, a little over 2 weeks now to get the water down so we could shut the dam off so we could work on the bridge there. As of today, the water's still going over the top of the dam. We haven't, with Mother Nature, we haven't been able to gain on her at all, so she's kind of kicking our rear end right now, so. I was hoping to have it started, by the end of this week, but it looks like we're gonna be another week anyway, waiting for the water levels to drop so we can work in there, so just update you on that. Everything's ready to go, the contractors are lined up, the bridge is all ready to go, but we just need Mother Nature to work with us a little bit.
Either that or some snorkels.
Yeah,
Okay. We can buy snorkels.
We did that on the
And that's gonna affect our water line.
that's right too.
yeah, that,
That will
Yep.
affect our water line. We talked about maybe waiting until after the fishing derby and stuff now, because we have to drain the pond. So we might push it out a little bit further out.
Yeah, it would be too bad to drain the pond before the kids get a chance to fish, so,
Yeah, or right after they stock it too.
Yeah.
Fish and
Yeah.
nothing left.
yeah.
I got one more question, Brad, Billy, on a tree there on Moltenville Road, the one across from Bruce Williams's trailer there,
Yep.
that dead thing, is that on town land? Can we take that down before it falls?
I'll have to take a look at it, but
We'll check
I
it
mean,
out.
it's right there, right on the, right, just off the street. I mean, it's deader than dead. Looks terrible. Is that a tree we can take down or something? I mean, for it falls and takes the wires down in somebody's house?
I'll let you know.
It's right across from Bruce Williams' trailer, right in that area, right there. Actually, I think where Bruce Parsons used to live, right in that area, right there.
Bruce Parsons.
Yeah, he used to live in that little house there across from the Eldridge's, Bruce Williams' house, the trailer.
Dallas is, I think.
It's right across
Yeah.
the street.
Okay,
Dallas is, I think, that's probably what he's talking about.
all right. Anything else, Brad?
Nope, that's weird.
No, that's, like I said, the dam is still running over, so.
Okay. One other thing that's under old business, which is hopefully gonna become new business, we've made, over the last several months, maybe even a couple of years, we all are under the understanding that our sign ordinance is terribly outdated and in very much in need of updating. We've got a sample, we've got a copy of Wakefield's ordinance, which is maybe helpful, maybe not. We are going to reach out to several of the other towns around us, as well as the state guidelines, because they have some guidelines on billboards. And I'm also going to suggest, we've talked about this briefly in the work session, that we invite comment from both our Economic Development Committee as well as reach out to the Chamber of Commerce and give them an opportunity to have some input on this as well. The sign ordinance can be a very big deal. Businesses rely on signs in many cases in order to get people into their businesses. We have consistently said that we are pro-business, and I believe for the most part we are, but this is an area where I think we have to show it and prove it. We have to involve them in that process of balancing what we want the town to look like along with their needs to be able to run a successful business. So there is a balance, and I'm not suggesting that we've struck it. I'm not suggesting that we even can strike it, but I think we're crazy if we don't try to strike that. So if we can get a letter out to, and I'm not even sure who to contact, the Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to set maybe 3 weeks from today as a date for where they can either come to the meeting, we'll have a hearing in conjunction with the selectmen's meeting, or anybody can supply written comments if they would like, or simply come to the meeting that night and have some input on what we're doing with sign ordinance.
Okay, so June 12th?
June 12th sounds like a good plan. Then I'm hoping to take what we get for those comments, craft them into, along with some of the other ordinances, pick and choose what we think will work for Ossipee and what won't. Once we've done that, then we will again do public hearings before we adopt that sign ordinance to give people a chance to have comment on it. So that's the process that we're looking at. Anybody want to add anything to that?
No.
Okay. Anything else? Public input? Connie, how'd the scholarships go today?
Good. Yep. We have six students.
Yeah?
Gave out 6 plus 1 scholarship, high scholastic.
Right.
philosophy.
Good.
Yep, this is that, and that one's gonna be one of the first times we give it, right?
Hasn't been given for quite a few years.
Right. I know I've been doing it for quite a while and I haven't given that out.
This
so
is a,
It's gonna be,
to clarify, this is on the Life and Marrow Scholarship.
yes,
What's the total amount we're giving out this year out of the
12,000.
12,000?
And the scholastic will be out of the Lord McAdoo,
Okay.
which we
Lord
haven't
McAdoo,
given out
yep.
for quite a while. Well, as long as I've been.
That will be given to an Ossipee student who has the highest academic, number. Am I right?
Okay. Bo, you started to raise your hand up?
Yeah, I just had suggestions, Brad and I talked about today, about Ossipee getting like a Facebook page. I know Sam does the website, but I'm just thinking if you had a Facebook page where it reached out to so many people, not to say, good afternoon, Rick, but important stuff like the highway department's putting a culvert in on Valley Road, such and such a date, respect delays. Important stuff like that, I think it reaches out to a lot more people. I think it does myself. I don't think it'd be a big job, you know?
Hydrant flushing too and
Yeah.
stuff, it might eliminate some of the calls we get with dirty water, or if they know,
Yep.
you know, you put the paper stuff like that on the website, not everybody sees it, so.
People sign up though to get those notices. I don't know how many
I
are
guess-
signed up
I
now.
think it's another way to really reach out to more people.
Are you gonna allow comment
And it's, if you
We don't have to answer them.
I don't think we need
I
that. I
know,
don't think we need
it
that.
gets out of control.
Yeah, it
There's
does.
no other towns
You ain't
do
kidding.
that.
But it completely depends. Our police department's had a Facebook page
Yeah,
now
they
for
do.
a couple of years, and
Yeah.
it's,
And other towns do.
you know, so I think it's something that's worth looking at, you know, today, again, times are a-changing.
Yeah.
And if there are, and I know, there are an awful lot of people in Ossipee that are on Facebook, so, it may well be something we ought to take a look at. Okay, thanks.
Did you guys do the red folder for water tonight yet?
Oh, we haven't, no. Glad you reminded me. We had done all the bills upstairs, which we do. The check voucher total for water and sewer for the week ending May 19th was $5,906.27. Make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else? Oh, yes. Last month, the town of Ossipee was featured on the front cover of the Town and City magazine. It's a very nice picture, which was actually taken by Sam Martin and submitted. It's a pretty neat thing. There's 206 towns in the state. This only comes out 6 times a year. So the fact that Ossipee was on the front page, I think is a neat thing, and thank you for submitting that. It was nice. If there's nothing else, we do have a need for non-public.
All right.
Anything else before we do that? We had conducted interviews last week for our new finance position, and we need a non-public briefly to vote, and then we will announce it. But right now I'm going to poll the board to go into non-public on a 91A32B, which is a personnel issue. Sam Martin?
Yes.
Bob Freeman?
Yes.
And Rick Morgan, yes. We will be right back. It should not take more than 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Oh, it's gonna take us 3 minutes to get upstairs.
I am going to go.
All right, reopen the public meeting. By way of announcement and the results of the very short non-public we just had, we have voted to make a conditional offer to Karen Anthony for our vacant finance position. We advertised that position. I believe we ended up with 14 applications altogether, which we winnowed down to 6, which we interviewed last Monday in 2 different sessions. And Karen was easily the unanimous selection of the board. I'm actually very excited to have her start. We had some good applicants, don't get me wrong, and I'm certainly not looking down on anybody else that did apply. But she came out of that selection process head and shoulders above anybody else that we interviewed. So I think she's going to serve us very, very well. And the conditional officer is necessary so that we can do the background, et cetera, and then that'll become a formal hiring. So, anybody have anything else?
I don't.
Ed, anything? While you're right here in your legislative hat, you may have noticed over the last few weeks a whole host of these mini abatements on campers.
Yeah.
Ellen can probably fill you in more than I can, but you can see it is a royal pain, because if it's a camper in a campground, it's taxable unless it's registered. And the campground has to notify us by certain dates what is there and what isn't, and when they're not right, then it results in this, which is collecting $100, returning $100. It used to be that the campground was responsible for the whole thing, and then they collected through their fees to pay the taxes. Seems to be a whole lot simpler system than what it is now, and it might be something worth looking
Yeah,
at.
they consider the camper personal property or real property, so it can't be responsibility of the campground owner who is responsible for the land that they sit on.
So legislatively, what's the question? What needs to be changed?
You tell me. It's a mess.
It is-
I don't know how you do fix it.
Have you heard a lot of feedback from other towns that have campgrounds?
Well, I would think that, are you talking about the park model type?
No.
Just campers, period. If they don't have a valid registration, they're taxable.
How do they drive it away? Or is it
They
something?
don't if they're attached to a
They drive
building.
it there and they leave it there
They
for
leave
it
so
there.
long,
Season
the
or-
registration expires and they just leave it there.
It just seems like an awful convoluted mess to send out that tax bill to turn around and have to abate it because they simply go and register the vehicle.
Well, you can't, if this was a different state, you couldn't do that. Because in other states, they wouldn't allow you to have a vehicle anywhere without being registered. But in this state, we don't do that. So it's up to the owner of the RV.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to, I won't put you on the
No,
spot
how's-
tonight, but we'll have to work on trying to come up with something.
How does that work when they build a camper on, a building onto it?
When they build the attachment, that becomes taxable.
But does the trailer come attachable? Because they
that-
can't move it from it.
Correct. If the camper is registered, that is not taxable. However, there is an assessed value that gets affixed to the deck or the screened porch or what have you.
Well, you send a tax bill out. Do you send a notice in the tax bill to make them aware that they have to, that they could register the vehicle?
That would, they have
Well,
to.
the tax bill goes, does it go to, who's it go to, each individual, or does it go to the, oh, okay.
The camp-
Maybe they don't know.
Oh, and you get the name from the,
The campground owners.
Campground
from the
sends you
campground,
name.
yes.
right.
It sounds like a communication problem. I think a lot of these people knew that all they had to do was make sure that it's registered, then they wouldn't have this problem. Because I'm sure people are getting fees attached to them because they're not paying their taxes.
Oh, yeah, and that's what comes into with all these abatements. I mean, it becomes a huge paper tiger. And it's not something that's worth a lot of money, so I mean, you've heard the amounts over here, you know, they're $50 or $100. We'll have more money than that in paperwork and assessment.
But doesn't it make sense then to communicate better with each owner of the
Of the campground.
campground, not the campground, the person that has the vehicle on?
But it changes so often. I mean, a camper could be there for one season and maybe not come back the next year.
Well, is the campground owner renting out the vehicle for?
No,
Just piece
he's renting out a site to park the vehicle.
Some of them
what the
stay
answer is.
there. I mean, they don't necessarily have to have winter camping, but they stay there all year round. So if they're there as of April 1st, they're technically taxable because they're stored.
You have a lot of campgrounds.
Yeah,
Okay, so is this a lot of money that you gain from
No.
campgrounds?
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but maybe you should not tax them at all. Can
I
you
don't
do
think,
that?
I don't think this may be the
No, no.
legislative piece, because I don't think that's allowed.
It's not an option.
I think
so
it
you
comes down to, comes down to a definition of what is taxable, which may be the legislative piece that we're looking for you to do something about, but it
Well,
just
that might
becomes.
pass. If that bill's put in, that might pass.
I
It's
don't know,
to
but
eliminate
it's,
a
but
tax.
maybe when you talk with the other towns, see if they're having an issue with the campground and assessments and, because this just seems crazy to me. I mean, we're sending, we invest a lot of money now in billing and sending in this. If we sent the assessor out today, we get charged $30 for every parcel he goes to.
I'm still trying to
They're just-
figure out, so by law, you have to tax them.
We can't
That's
pick and,
rates.
we can't pick and choose who we send a tax bill to, nor should we be able to. It becomes by definition taxable property if it is on that site as of April 1st.
Why? It's a vehicle. It's got wheels on it, correct?
But if it's not
It's meant to
registered,
stay stationary. It's not meant.
Well, if it's not registered, then they wouldn't leave the lot with the vehicle.
which means it's taxable.
It's taxable, right?
Well, I would think just the opposite. It's not taxable. So I think what we should do is make it not taxable. You don't deal with it at all. Does the campground owner have any taxes they have to pay?
Oh, they pay a tax on the whole of the land. They just aren't paying on the vehicles, which, you know, It seems to me if it's a vehicle which is registerable and drivable away, you know, that they can get in and drive away, I don't understand why it's a taxable piece of property. The park models, which you back in and leave there, somewhat that's a different
It's not
scenario.
really different. If it's under a certain square footage and it's got wheels on it, is it still considered an RV or a vehicle?
Or a trailer, I don't.
Well, there's a lot of campgrounds in the state, so this could be, I don't know, I'll ask around.
See,
Ask around other towns.
ask what your other towns and see if they're coming at, it seems very onerous to me.
Wakefield must be doing something, because they do collect on a lot, but I never hear this issue happening in Wakefield's meetings.
But we're constantly, you see them every week, you know, as we're picking this back up, because all of a sudden you find out it was registered when it was reported as not, and it's a mess.
Well, I'll transmit this to Wakefield and other towns, I'm sure.
See what
they'll
happens.
response.
See what happens.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else? If not, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Sorry,
Aye.
Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Tamara, please.